And with that, I will call to order the regular meeting of the Simsbury Board of Education. Today is April 28th, 2015, and tonight we're very pleased to start with some very wonderful recognitions. So with that, I will begin with a very special Girl Scout Award. And we have here Miss Emily Cole and her father. Welcome.
You can stand up.
You can stand, please stand. You're on camera, so this is great. And Emily is here tonight to be honored because she has completed the Gold Award project. And I'll just read a little bit of a quip here. This Gold Award project is significant. Emily will be the first girl in Simsbury to earn this Gold Award in more than 10 years. To earn her award, Emily created and implemented a new unified art program at Simsbury High School, which bridges the gap between special education and traditional students through arts and crafts. So, Emily, you have a very great write-up here in the Hartford Courant recently that I read, and you were going to be honored on June 1st at a very wonderful ceremony, very poignant ceremony. So with that, I'm going to give you the floor for a few minutes and tell us about yourself and a little bit about and a little bit about what got you involved in scouting this long and your award.
Standing.
Yeah.
Yes, please, go ahead.
So I've done Girl Scouts since kindergarten. I started, and I've done the unified programs since freshman year. I started with unified theater, and while doing the unified programs, there was always a unified sports and unified theater, but there wasn't anything for students who maybe didn't want to get up on stage, didn't want to play sports, and so I thought if there was a program that could bring in even more kids through arts, which is a lot more relaxed, and a lot kind of a smaller commitment than I think a lot of kids often want to make, that I thought that would be a great project for me to do. So I got together a team of faculty advisors and I had 2 students who also worked with me on the project, and we ended up having, I think, 25 students on average that were coming every week, and it really was a great success. We had a lot of kids who I would see in the hall and be like, can't wait to see unified art, so that made me very happy.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Emily, what grade are you in?
I'm a senior.
What are your plans? Do you have them all?
I will be going to Simmons College. It's in Boston, starting in the fall.
Great.
Great. Very good.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, and we have 5 student leaders who will be taking it on, as well as a new teacher advisor next year. So the club will be continuing.
Wow.
As far as I know, for many years to come, at least next year.
Emily, is this centered? Is this just at the high school, or are you reaching
As
down?
of right now, it's just at the high school. What the leaders this year and so on can choose to do with it, if it gets to the middle school, that'd be great. As of this year, it was just at the high school.
It's a great start.
Yeah, great program.
Great job.
So Emily, on behalf of the students at Simsbury High School, it was a great idea, and to engage that many students is really a remarkable effort. So we certainly are proud to acknowledge that.
Great. Well, again, congratulations on behalf of the Board of Education here and Simsbury Public Schools. It's a wonderful honor, very well deserved, and I've heard of all the hard work and perseverance that you have done. And I believe this is your dad who's here this evening. So anyway, great. You must be very proud of your daughter. So great, very good. Good. Well, thank you, Emily. Congratulations. Very good.
I just want to say I'm very appreciative of the fact that Simsbury High offers these unified programs.
Absolutely.
You know, she does start with unified theater, and now she's doing unified health. Mm-hmm. And this provided, a segue into the thing that she wanted to do. So I don't think all high schools do that. Especially when I talk to friends from out of state, it's fairly uncommon. So it's a great thing that this district is doing.
And that is, our board has been very supportive of those kinds of programs that we've been able to offer in our program of studies for students. And we certainly do appreciate that, so thank you.
Great, very good. Again, congratulations and best wishes for next year.
Good luck.
Great,
Yes.
great. Thank you. All right, we are now on to other awards that we have this evening and recognitions. And with that, Erin?
Yes, we have FBLA. We have this is a a reoccurring event that we have now each year. And Mrs. Mannion, a business teacher at Simsbury High School, brings us always a very impressive and remarkable group of students that are in the business association here. And once they get assembled in here, I know that Mr. Sullivan has a few words to say, and we'll get started on this recognition.
So I finally learned my lesson to put on a nice tie and blazer so that I don't get outdressed by the MBLA students. So that's happened to me in the years past when I do this. So I want the board, I think that we've had FBLA students here for a few years. It's just a portion of our award winners from this year. I think the other chapters in the state might be getting to the point of outrageous jealousy of what Simsbury High School is accomplishing in this world of FBLA, and not only with the success of our competitions, but you're also going to hear that we continue to elect statewide officers to the organization, and it's really, I would say, in the last 3 or 4 years, gone to an entirely different level in terms of what we're doing. You see that in the enrollments in our business department during the day, but it's the work of the FBLA extracurricular chapter doing things like the competitions, but also sending students to national conferences. We went to the leadership conference in Washington earlier this year. A number of these students will be headed to Chicago. It's really pretty remarkable opportunities. That is under the leadership of the chapter advisor, Deb Manning, and I'm going to have her introduce the rest of these students.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you having us here tonight. We actually have 100 and what is it, Michael? 106 official members. We were awarded the largest percentage increase in chapter membership in the state of Connecticut. Very proud of our students. We had 53 that attended the state conference, and in the competitions we had 33 winners. Okay, 22 of them qualified for second or third place to go on to national, and we have actually 19 who are actually going to Chicago at the end of June. And all the students that you're seeing here are actually going to go to Chicago and compete. So would you like to introduce yourself and say what you're going to be competing in?
I'm Katie Ticha. I'm a sophomore and I'm competing in business math.
I'm Anna Cascinello. I'm a sophomore and I'm doing principles and procedures.
I'm Daniel Peluso. I am in 10th grade and I will be competing in impromptu speaking.
I'm Ben Smith. I'm a junior and I'll be competing in personal finance.
I'm Michael Seaman. I'm a junior and I will be competing in life smarts.
I'm Toby Gettinger. I'm a junior and I'm running to be a national officer.
I'm Josh Hollis. I'm a junior and I'm also competing in life smarts.
And I have to say, we had 2 state officers this year. Maxwell Skalski was the state Connecticut president, and the treasurer was Graham Lowry. And this year again, we have a state president, Toby Gattinger, and we have state treasurer, Michael Seaman. So we've got this tradition going.
That is
very, very proud of all the students, and phenomenal. I have to thank everyone for their support, all the other business teachers, the administration, and a board member who I don't see here tonight, but he's probably tired from helping us. That's Tom Frank. He's attended 2 of the FBLA meetings. He's mentored students and been incredibly helpful. So I thank you all so much for that.
Very good, very good. Quite an accomplishment, and again, seeing our students here before us, and it just piggybacks what you were saying about all the course offerings and all the programs that our high school offers. And it's a testament to our students here.
You also must be making it fun if all of a sudden, if it continues to grow and it's 106 people. I mean, it must be something.
You know what? It is a lot of fun, and I have to say, Toby's brother Jacob actually brought a lot of fun into the organization when he said, "You know what? I want to run for national office." And we all thought this paradigm, small state, we can't do that. We don't have the voting delegates. We're not a California or Texas, but he said, "I'm going for it," and he did. And so he really introduced us to a lot of offerings at the national level. So we take advantage of that, and the students just are really enjoying the benefits of it. So it's great.
So congratulations. I do think, your representation of Simsbury High School in the greater good of this kind of activity and opportunity is just unbelievable, and we are very, very proud of each and every one of you. So thank you. Thank you for the time and the energy that you put into this as well.
Thank you very much.
right. Okay. Good. We are all right, moving on to public audience, and this is the time where anyone in the audience wishing to address the board may do so. Please state your name and address.
Joan Code, 26 Whitcomb Drive. I am concerned that public education is being corrupted by Wall Street. Pearson, a Wall Street company, is the sole provider of all educational curriculums and testing. Tablets are provided by Google. It is alleged that all this material is data mined for large corporations. Students and teachers are over-tested through SBAC testing and teacher reading surveys. Time spent on testing and data gathering are an untested experiment. Time and money is being diverted from classroom teaching and teacher enrichment to teach to the test. Public education is being decimated with money being diverted to magnet schools and charter schools. All teachers who hold an elementary education degree in grades K through 3 are required to complete the survey. The reading survey is conducted by the Connecticut Department of Education. The survey includes 85 multiple choice questions addressing various objectives: foundations of reading development, development of reading comprehension, reading assessment and instruction. The survey includes questions for K through 6 teachers. The scenarios are lengthy for each multiple choice question. How can the survey measure a teacher's ability to teach? The survey results are sent to each teacher through an email. The correct answers to the survey are not transmitted to the teachers. Is the Connecticut Department of Education data mining the teachers? If this experiment on educational standards continue, public education will be destroyed. Testing, surveying teachers don't measure performance. The result of this experiment will lead to students without any creativity and will discourage people from going into the teaching profession. Everyone should push back on excessive testing of our students and requiring teachers to take surveys that have questionable measurements. As a past teacher, mother of 4 children, and grandmother, I am concerned that public education is being attacked. Everyone who believes in public education for our children should be concerned about this educational experiment. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook.
I have 2 points that
Yes.
I could make on that. Number one, the assessment, the over-testing that was just mentioned. I think that I've shared with the Board of Education that we did receive a grant from the State Department of Education, an assessment reduction grant, and we are taking stock in our assessments here in Simsbury. We actually surveyed our teachers across the district. We have over 200 responses from our teachers. We've had 1 meeting of the think tank, and we have our 2nd meeting tomorrow. And the outcome will be to identify those assessments, the minimum number of assessments that we need that will help diagnose and influence instructional practices as well as influence student learning. So that's one point. And the other point about the reading survey is we've talked about that at this table as well, and we are unsure of it as well in the sense of what it's testing. A multiple choice test and teacher practice are 2 different kinds of ways in which to measure student or teacher performance. What we're hoping to receive from the reading survey is information back to us around strengths of our K-3 teachers as well as areas for continued growth that we can utilize when we plan professional development. So, thank you, John.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board? All right, seeing none, we will move on now to Board and Administrative Communications, and we'll start with Mallory.
Hi, well, it's hard to believe that there's only a month and a half left of school. Everyone is very busy right now as AP exams will start on Monday and continue for 2 weeks. This past weekend, the SHS Theater Department put on their spring play performance of I Never Saw Another Butterfly, and I was fortunate enough to go see it twice. And it was an extremely intense and moving performance about the Holocaust, and they had a guest speaker flown in whose parents were survivors, so that was very interesting. Spring sports teams are doing well and are very busy lately. Mr. Street actually tweeted yesterday that there are 57 sports games this week alone. And lastly, there's lots of preparation for the graduating seniors. On this upcoming Monday, there will be auditions held for those interested in giving a speech at graduation, and information on senior outing and prom will be distributed this week.
Alrighty. All right.
Hard to
Very
believe.
good. Hard to believe. Spring is here. Susan.
I'm all set.
Tom.
All set, thank you.
Todd.
Nothing
Michael.
tonight, thanks.
Tara.
I think I would just remind everyone that on May 5th, we have the vote for our budgets.
Yes.
A townwide vote, and everyone should be participating if they are able. It would be great to show up at Henry James all day on Tuesday, May 5th.
Thank you. And the hours are 6 to 8 p.m., 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So, thank you. Susan.
Great. Two things. I just wanted to let board members know that the summer version of the Department of Continuing Ed brochure offerings is out and available, so I'd be happy to get any board member a copy. But just every time I see this publication, I'm overwhelmed with the breadth and the depth which we offer in our Department of Continuing Education, whether that be through our Simsbury Arts Academy, through SEED, through our preschool division, to our adult division, adult mandated division. It's just so very, very strong. So we're very excited about everything that'll be happening this summer, and some of those summer programs will be featured on the upcoming SCTV school-based programming. So be watching for that. The other thing is that I was at Henry James today, and I saw this monster of a trophy in the main office, and I said, Mr. White, what's that? And he said, for the third year in a row, the chess team has taken states.
Oh, wow.
So 3 consecutive years, strong performance from our chess team, and wanted to share that with the board as well.
That's great. I want to make one other thing. This weekend, we had the Innovation Fair all through Simsbury.
Yes.
And we had wonderful programming at, we had different schools did different things. There were a couple elementary schools at the Simsbury Historical Society, and the high school had some great biometrics and some app development, and they had a lot of, they did robotics, and I can't remember all of it, but I was there, and it was very cool,
right.
and it was a great experience. It will all be on SCTV. They filmed most of it, so look for it and check it out. But it was a great day and very wonderful to see what the kids are doing in the high school and around town.
That's great.
I can chirp in from the back row. We have a big trophy just like that one because the high school chess team won at the high school.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
Alrighty then.
Otherwise, I would have given the high school its due as well.
All right. And displayed very prominently, I'm sure.
Hit it right in the main office.
Absolutely. Very good. Good. Thank you. And Susan, just a question on the brochure that's also on the website?
Yes.
Yes. For those that did not receive paper copy, it will also be on the website.
And we have a My Payments Plus option now that you can pay online, so that's also a new feature of convenience for our customers. of
Very
Simsbury.
positive, very encouraging. Good. All righty. Burke.
Thanks to Tara for reminding everybody about the referendum. And I only have an update on a couple of milestones for our public building projects that are slated for this summer. The Henry James and Squadron Line main office relocation projects are moving forward. We had bid openings last week, and yesterday evening at the Public Building Committee, we had contracts that were approved and are going to be hopefully getting paperwork done over the next week, and then getting ready for a start as soon as school is out. So the best news was that we were under budget on both projects, so we're happily getting ready for the next milestone, and we'll update you when those contracts have been signed.
Good.
I do. To continue the student celebration, I do want to talk about our robotics team that went to the Worlds in St. Louis this past week. They actually busted out there. There was, under the direction of John C. Lytwinick and Kurt Dugan. Kurt Dugan actually drove the truck to get the pit, I won't get this right, but get the pit and the robot to St. Louis.
Wow.
And we shared a bus with, I believe it was Southbury. But the team and the robot did very well. well. We had about a dozen students that went on this. There were 8 different divisions. They were in the Newton division, and that division actually took the championship, not Simsbury, but that division. So they were surrounded by some very competitive robotic teams in St. Louis. Simsbury placed 32nd out of 76 teams, which they say is not shabby at all. It was a very good showing because there's 15 countries that participate in this in St. Louis. So they also had speakers that were there from FIRST that included a CEO of Boeing, a Brigadier General of the Air Force, and President Obama via video to the kids. So not only did they have the opportunity to compete, but they also had other stations and colleges and universities that they could speak to, talk about the kinds of things that they're interested in as they go forward. So the entire experience for these dozen students was just remarkable, and one that they want to get back to next year, and they want to be able to build 2 robots so that they can be very competitive as they go back. So congratulations to our robotics team under the direction of John C. Lytwinick and Kurt Dugan. It was really, and a lot of extra parents and other supporters around the community that have supported our robotics team. And they're very thankful for the board for the commitment that we've made to robotics as well. So. And the second item that I have in your folder is the 2012-2013 Strategic School Profile. And each time these are published, we bring them publicly to you. This is a wealth of data regarding the Simsbury Public Schools. This is the last time it will look like this. We're undergoing a complete renovation of the way in which this is, the amount or the kind of data that's collected, and that will then be presented. So remembering we're finishing 14-15, this is 12-13, so it's 2 years old. We're waiting to see what the next product will look like. We've seen some prototypes over time, but we don't know what the final product is. So the strategic school profiles, you have the district. There is a profile for each of the individual schools, and these will be all posted on our website. So not only will you have the opportunity to look at it, but anybody in our community can also look on our website at our profile as well.
Very good. And next year we'll be coming out with the new format?
Correct.
Right. So it still is really 2 years behind.
Correct.
Right, and that, okay. Very good.
All right.
All righty, and
Anything else? I don't
That's
have
it?
anything else.
Okay, that is it. Then, and just for me, in your packet, I had Katie put in your packet, as you know, the governor did come out with his budget, and still, it's been a very busy time. Or in your folder is just a 2-page recap of just the education bills. As you know, they start out with hundreds and hundreds of bills, and basically what you see here, the bills in the committee are ones that are just most likely going to be coming for more discussion. So it's been a very busy time at the Capitol. I've testified 3 times, done with testimony, and now they just have about 7 weeks to go. They must finish a budget by beginning of June. So yesterday I was able to meet with Senator Whitkos and other colleagues from CREC. And again, we are constantly talking about, the ECS funding that is, very crucial to all our districts within the state, and in particular, the special ed pieces of it. So more to come as we move forward with that. We did have our CAPE Day on the Hill, and Will, you were on Day on the Hill. So what would you like to say about your experience there?
It was very interesting. I really enjoyed kind of the rally around the public schools, and the more people fighting for us as students, not necessarily just looking at it from an adult perspective. So.
So it was actually a very good day, and this was the end of March. Before we're a month already before a lot of this has come forward, but it was great because we were able to see several legislators and several lobbyists and our students. And again, very proud of our students because we had several of speakers from the General Assembly who spoke, and our students had some very, very fine questions that they asked of the legislators regarding education. So we're very proud of you for asking that. So that's where we are. So more to come. Keep those inquiries coming, and as I said before, and we're in a difficult time, and we're just hoping that the education pieces of the governor's budget will remain intact. So. All righty, so that is it with this. Let's move on now to recommended actions. In Exhibit 1 of your packet, approval of minutes of the March 24 special meeting. And do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
I am abstaining also. All right, motion passes. We are now on to Exhibit 2, approval of minutes of the March 24th regular meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions?
Abstain?
I abstain.
Same.
Same. All righty, motion carries. Number 3, Exhibit 3, personnel.
I have three personnel recommendations for your consideration this evening. The first is a resignation of science teacher Kim Rabbit. Kim's been with us for the past 9 years, and she is moving on to takes care of some other personal things, and we certainly wish Kim the best. Therefore, I would recommend that the Board of Education accept the resignation of Kim Rabbit effective June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
The second is the retirement of Ed Boysick. So Mr. Boysick, Tom is motioning to the paper, has been a teacher with us for 46 years. And Ed and actually some other teachers this Thursday will be recognized during our Staff Recognition Day. But we certainly wish Ed the best in his retirement after 46 years. So I'd recommend that the Board of Education accept the retirement of Edward Boysick effective June 30th, 2015.
Very good.
So moved with many thanks.
Second?
Very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Remarkable career.
Absolutely.
The third is an intent to retire another legend in the district, Mary Ann Lindquist, currently serving as a grade 1 teacher at Latimer Lane. Has been with us for 36 years, and she's put in for her retirement in 3 years. So I would recommend that the Board of Education accept the notice of intent to retire Mary Ann Lindquist effective June 30th, 2018.
Very good. Do you hear a motion?
So moved.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Again, hey, 36 years is
Plus 3 more.
plus 3 more, 39. Absolutely.
Very
It's
fortunate
nothing
to
to
have
scoff
people
at.
here.
We really are.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All righty. Oh, and while we're on this, we are having Thursday, the board's got the invitation. I'm sorry, I meant to mention before, but we are having our staff recognition
At Tooten
Thursday
Hills.
at Tooten Hill School, starting at 3:30. So again, we will be, honoring our retirees and also our years of service, our employees. So if you're able to make it, we'd appreciate having you. All right, thank you. Let's move on now to Exhibit 4, donation to PTO Cultural Enrichment Committee.
Thanks. So all of our 5 PTOs from our elementary schools have stepped up, and there's $5,457 that are being donated and requesting to approve for spring programming. As you know, we now have this down in a fall, winter, spring cycle. We've tried to show you a little bit about some of the cultural program that has been brought in this year in the exhibit that you have. And so this would be the last for this school year, and we'd ask that you accept it.
Very good. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Susan. Do you hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Todd. Any further discussion? Again, thank you very much for all the donations our PTOs
It's a great
allowed
program.
us
We're very lucky to have it.
Absolutely allowed us, our students, to benefit from all the performing arts. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. We are now on to Exhibit 5, gift to Latimer Lane School.
Okay, so we have a gift from the Latimer PTO of $6,500 that we're asking your consideration of. And it should be noted that they did a 5K fun run to support and health and fitness, and then in fact proceeds from that are making their way to further support health and fitness and PE. There'll be funding will pay for PE equipment and also playground improvements, and there will be restriping of the basketball courts, and also they're going to be able to paint a map of the U.S., as you may have seen in some of our other schools, on the playground blacktop. So we thank them for that and hope that you'll approve it.
That's great. Very good. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the.
Thank you, Tara.
Yep.
Do I hear it?
Awesome.
Second. Thank you, Tom.
Second.
Any further discussion?
It's very nice whenever we get gifts from our families that help.
Absolutely.
Makes a big difference.
So, and this, will this equipment be in for the September? Will be in?
That would be my understanding.
Okay, all right, so students will be coming back to new playground equipment, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, thank you. Again, thank you very much to the Latimer Lane PTO. We are now on to Exhibit 6, Approval of Teacher and Administrator Evaluation Plans.
So what I bring to you tonight is the educator evaluation plan and the administrator evaluation plan. 3 years ago, we began the development of these plans, and we've had 2 years of implementation. We've created these plans with input through our PGE, our Professional Growth and Development Committee, under the leadership of co-chairs of Sue and myself, and representation of teachers around the district. And at this point, we're confident that we made very few changes to these plans this year. After year 1 and into year 2, we made minor edits, and we think these are the plans that will be going forward, so we are looking for your approval on them tonight. But clearly, what we have seen in the 2 years of implementation, that it's really giving us opportunities to have some deep conversations between and among administrators and teachers around their practice, and between central office and administrators as well through the administrative plan, and they've been working well. So I would ask that the board approve the Simsbury Public Schools Educator Evaluation Plan, Professional Growth Plan, and the Simsbury Public Schools Administrator Professional Growth and Evaluation Plan.
Good. All right, do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion. Moves that the Board of Education approve the Simsbury Public Schools Educator Evaluation Professional Growth Plan and the Simsbury Public Schools Administrator Professional Growth and Evaluation Plan.
Very good, thank you, Mike.
Second.
Second, Tara, thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, just a couple.
Yes, Tom.
We've seen, and I agree with you, Aaron, we've seen lots of discussion on this over the past couple of years. I mean, once this does get approved, or like, so that the rest of the community knows what's going on in terms of what's kind of the template, if you will. Where does that get housed, or does anybody, is that available for people to understand what it means that we're independently measuring these 4 facets that are outlined in?
So that's a great question, and what we do have is an internal teacher portal that houses the plans, as well as all the documents that go along with it. But it is something that I think the PGE committee, the Professional Growth and Development Committee, could certainly consider as we move forward of how do we
show people
what
it
is.
Right, what you're looking at.
Exactly.
Because I think evaluations and reviews done well are very meaningful and very productive for everybody, right?
Right. So I think that's a great suggestion, and we'll look for ways to make that more public in regard to the categories from which that teachers and administrators are evaluated, as well as the professional growth piece to it.
The other item I know we spent time on this was the time commitment required to do all these observations and whatnot. Is it still all things equal, or is it rational and reasonable, and is it still going to be a practical outcome? Because I know we're trying to balance requirements as well as making sure this is a meaningful exercise that everybody's going through.
So this year, the state did not give any flexibility waivers as they had last year, which caused us to have to make some minor changes to it. We have had many conversations regarding the amount of time that it takes and the input that it requires. We're looking at next year as our 3rd year to really take stock in the amount of time and try to be a vocal voice across the state of how we can potentially differentiate if that was to change, the plan would come back to you, and we would discuss that with you. But we have had several conversations on, how do we continue to use this plan in a way that's going to help growth and development, but not take away from the teaching and learning that goes on in the classroom.
So I think you hinted at the question I had, which is how locked into this are we? Or can we tweak as we go continually? Like, if we find issues this year, is this something we can review, and do we refile it with the state, or
Correct.
is it?
If we do make changes, we would refile it with the state. They now have an electronic. I have it, locked into my calendar following this meeting, that we will go through and electronically submit these documents so that they have a PDF of it. We have other districts that I've just sent it out to another district. People are asking to look at our plan, so I did share it with them as well. So any substantial changes that are made need to be resubmitted. But we have a good relationship with the talent office, and I think that we would continue those conversations with Neil, working with myself and Sue as well, having some in-depth conversations and potentially piloting some different ways in which to differentiate some of the time commitment that takes place with this particular plan.
All righty.
All right.
Very good. We need a vote. Thank you very
We didn't
much.
vote, did we?
Did we?
No,
No,
we
we did
didn't.
not
No.
vote.
We did.
We
discussed.
That was discussion.
It was quite a lengthy discussion, but a good
Yes.
discussion.
Yes.
Again, we know much work is going into this over 3
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
So by now. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you again. We are now on to Exhibit 7, end of year fiscal authorizations, and that's Burke.
Okay. Thank you. So we have modified the format of this just a little bit, this annual exhibit this year. As you probably recall, ultimately the areas that we're looking for authorization for the superintendent to act on the board's behalf have to do with the fact that we have a typical summer recess for the board. So there's authorization on applying for state and federal grants during those summer months. Also, at the end of our fiscal year, transfer of funds authorization, and then ultimately hiring over the summer. But the second item number 2, there's three motions in regard to transfer of funds and what happens at year end. Now, because of our recent budget process, where the Board of Finance has created the unexpended education funds account as allowed by state law, so rather than the unspent Board of Ed funds going back to the general fund, we now have language that talks about the unexpended education funds account, which cannot be more than 1% of the current year operating budget, but it now will be in line with that new process that we're about to undertake for the first time this summer. So I just wanted to point out those are the differences that you would see in this motion from prior years, and also looking at the Board of Education. The Board of Finance motions on how that process works. The third motion under the transfer of funds talks about you have to have approval of the funds going into this account and also the funds coming out. So that's why there's an extra motion there.
The first 1% goes into the
up to 1% if we have money to turn back at the end of the fiscal year as we've planned in this very unique year, then that account is it's separated and ultimately cannot be larger than 1%, because that's the maximum that you could put into it in any single year. So then we're going to be talking a little bit later tonight in the quarterly report about how we've planned in this budget process to utilize those monies we expect to have at the end of this year in the upcoming year. So this is a first for us in terms of trying to parallel that language, just so that the year-end closeout will happen as a part of this new unexpended funds account process.
Bert, do you expect that unexpended education funds account will be kind of a line item in our budgets going forward, and we'll be able to track kind of the ins and outs, kind of a net You know what I mean? Because I mean, to me, that was part of my my
we would-
comments last meeting, right? I was
We would
just trying to
certainly,
track all
we
that.
would certainly need to, I'm not sure if we've determined how to present it, but we certainly would provide the information so that it can be tracked and followed and how it dovetails with the regular operating budget.
Yeah, because I appreciate your comment about, hey, we're going to talk about that later. Because right, it's a footnote later, right?
Yes.
And I'm just trying to make sure that we don't lose track of all the footnotes. That's all.
Sure.
All
Are
right.
there any other questions?
Somebody's got to read.
We would like somebody to read
We've
those
got a lot.
motions, please.
Quite a bit. All right. Do I hear a motion?
We probably ought to read them.
Yes, we actually do have to read individual motions.
Take the first one.
I don't have it in front of me.
Right here.
I move that the Simsbury Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to act as the board's agent in renewing applications for state and federal funded programs.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number 2, transfer of funds.
Move that the Simsbury Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to transfer funds from those accounts in which a surplus is anticipated into those accounts in which a deficit is anticipated.
Very good. Do I hear a motion? Second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
You're up.
I guess it's me. I can-
Pass it on down.
Move that the Simsbury Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to request Board of Finance approval for the deposit of unexpended funds at the close of the fiscal year into the unexpended education funds account as authorized by state law. The amount of said deposit will be no more than 1% of the board's current year operating budget. Unexpended funds over the 1% threshold will be returned to the town general fund balance.
Second.
Thank you. Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. Move that the Simsbury Board of Education authorizes the superintendent or designee with Board of Finance approval to approve any and all expenditures from the unexpended education funds account.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The next one, Roman numeral 2-1. Susan, would you like to read that one?
Do we need to talk about this before we read this one at all?
If there are questions, again, this is the historical motion that allows employment of teachers during the July and August months, and working with the board chairman.
Okay, which we've done in the past.
Move that the superintendent, with the approval of a board chairman, be authorized to hire staff for the 2015-16 school year during the period of July and August when the board is not in session.
Very good. Here a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? As I mentioned befor, we have done this in the past. It's a past practice.
Right. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. All righty. Very good. We are now at the end of our recommended actions, and we are now on to information and reports. And we have Exhibit 8. We have the Project Choice Program update.
Sue Lemke.
All right, Sue, and welcome parents and students and
This is
and
actually
staff.
the whole peanut gallery from
This is
Amoya
wonderful.
Francis, who we're going to meet in a moment. She is that impressive.
This is
At this
wonderful.
point, I am going to invite Samaria Campbell up to the table as well as Amoya Francis. So Samaria, I've been giving updates to the board all along throughout the year regarding celebrations and great things that have been happening with our Open Choice program and under the leadership of Samaria. And so I wanted to bring her before the board this evening. One, so you have the option, you have the opportunity to meet Samaria and put a face with the name that I've been discussing, and hear about the great things, again, that she's been leading. And certainly I wanted the opportunity to have a student voice, and Amoya is a powerful superstar at the middle school. And she began with us. She'll speak a little bit about her experience, but at Latimer Lane just a couple of years ago. So she's brought her entire family, mom and dad and grandma and aunties that have all had the wonderful opportunity to meet. And you'll hear more from Amoya in just a moment. So what I'd like to do to start us off is really just kind of ground us in the mission of the Open Choice program, to strengthen the academic and social experiences of all learners by providing high-quality, integrated public school options to all students in the greater Hartford area. And we certainly are a wonderful example of that mission alive here in Simsbury. So just to give you a little bit of program history, Open Choice started off as Project Concern in 1966, and actually Simsbury was one of the districts who first participated in the Project Concern program. In 1997, we had the Sheff versus O'Neill legislation, and it really transformed a lot of what this looked like, not only in name, but certainly in name. So it went from Project Concern to Open Choice again in 1997, or I'm sorry, 1997. And with that, we continued our enrollment here in Simsbury. Certainly, we've experienced some enhanced enrollment. Even from 2001, we were about 1%. Right now, we're just over 3%, with 146 students enrolled in Open Choice pre-K through 12. We added that preschool component just a couple of years ago in 2012, 2013. So this is our third year having our preschool students, and we have 10 of them who will be entering our kindergarten classrooms in just a couple of months. So we've been really excited about that addition to our program, and certainly the Open Choice Specialist. We actually had an Open Choice Specialist, the board may remember, that we shared in between Canton, Granby, Farmington, and what we are finding is that we wanted that specialist to work with our students, just with our students. So a couple of years ago in 2012 and 2013, we actually added a specific Open Choice Specialist to Simsbury that we fund through one of the grants through Open Choice. And Samaria has taken the lead in this role this past year, and we're just thrilled with the depth that she's added to our Open Choice program. So with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Samaria. During the interview process, which some of the board members were a part of, Samaria really captured the committee with certainly her vision and things that she wanted to see happen, and she's already enacting that vision. So with that, Samaria Campbell.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So when I first heard about the position, I was really thrilled about it because I was thinking it was such a unique position where I get to work with a program that has a long history and students coming from a different community into a new community that they may have different challenges in and different opportunities at the same time. So my vision coming in was to gain a significant understanding of what their viewpoints were, what their needs were, how to create an environment where they felt very engaged in the community, a part of the school community, and how they can be very successful. So as a part of that, I would like to continue to foster an environment where students can have open dialogue and express their views about their academic successes and some of their concerns, and also have them contribute to the school community in various ways, academically through sports and through different missions that they may have. And I'm going to continue, and I've been, I think, very successful in working with a lot of the administration to identify student needs and finding out about different programs, connecting Hartford programs with Simsbury programs. So I want to continue doing that as well. So some of the programs that I've implemented one of them is the Partner Family Network, and it was already established, but I worked specifically with the elementary schools with that, and basically what that involves is connecting Hartford families with Simsbury families, and we really focus on just after-school activities, activities happening in the evening, school concerts, and things of that sort, where parents who we already work on, natural friendships. If students are friends, we will reach out to Hartford families and the Simsbury families and say, hey, would you guys like to stay more connected? And that may develop into staying over each other's houses, arranging play dates, whatever happens organically. But initially, we would just like to focus on creating a way for parents to come to the Simsbury in the evening to participate in different activities. So sometimes families will have some of the children in choice stay at their house, come over right after and kind of have dinner with them, and vice versa. Simsbury kids go to Hartford families' houses, and so that's a great way for parents in both sides to stay connected. Also, I do bi-weekly lunch bunches at the elementary school. I meet with students. It's another great way for me to stay connected with them, find out what's going on, and to just really keep in tune with the school community in that way. And then the Girl Empowerment Club at Henry James is something that Amoya is a part of. And what we focus is, it's just for 7th and 8th grade girls, all girls, not just kids in choice. We focus on decision making, conflict resolution. Then we also try to spice it up. We have some dance. We did a Latin salsa dance instruction. We've also created our own dance for the Henry James talent show that's going to be coming up. So those are some of the things that we've been working on. And then the Multicultural Club at the high school, 2 really great seniors, Ashley Jackson and Kadum St. Mary. They're the president and vice president of that club, and they came to me and they said, we really would like a way to promote diversity. And Sue Lemke, she had done a diversity book club at the high school before, and so I'd like to do something like that. And they had the interest there, and we basically focus on federal heritage holidays. For September, October, we did Latin American history. For May, we're doing Asian Pacific heritage. We did Black History Month, of course, for February. So we do a lot of things focusing on the federal heritage months already in place. And then mentoring, Sue Lemke and Cindy Freelanger and a lot of other faculty have mentorships with the students that are really significant and meaningful, and it really helps them, stay connected with the community.
Our favorite part of the week.
It is.
You know, and have lunch with the kiddos, and you establish these relationships over time. So it's really powerful for both sides of the fence, no doubt.
So I'm going to get off and talk about our celebrations in just a moment, but I'd like to introduce Amoya Francis, who is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, she has just intrinsic motivation. I don't have to come to her and say, would you like to do this? She comes to me and says, I'd like to do this, Miss Campbell. Can you help me with this? She already has a speech worked out. She has an agenda. I mean, she is phenomenal. So I'd like her to speak about her experience in the Choice program.
Okay. Good night to everyone. We may encounter many defeats.
Excuse me, can you turn the microphone toward you so that
I want to catch it. We want to make sure we get it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good night to everyone. My name is Amoya Francis, and I will be speaking to you about my accomplishments from coming to Simsbury. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. Maya Angelou. This same quote was read to me in 4th grade. And from that same moment, I knew my passion was for writing. As I got the opportunity to go to school in Simsbury, I knew I'm going to have an opportunity to pursue my dreams and passion for writing. In 5th grade, I wrote a poem named The World. My 5th grade teacher from Latimer Lane, Mrs. O'Connor, had entered my piece into a writing competition. I didn't place, but keep in mind, I was up against 6th and 12th graders. Aside from that, there was a spark inside of me that said my yellow brick road had just begun. And I took that into consideration and kept writing. Shortly after that, I wrote the President Barack Obama. Within a few weeks, I got a reply back. And I knew my passion for writing was only getting bigger. In 6th grade, I signed up for the Senator Whitcoast writing competition. If you are a Connecticut state lawmaker, what bill would you propose and why? I wrote about how colleges should be free and won 1st place. Following that, I won the Jean Hill Award at Latimer Lane. As I transitioned to Henry James Memorial School, my yellow brick road only got brighter. Currently, I'm in the Leadership Academy and travel to Trinity College. Following that, won 2nd place in the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Young People's Oratorical Contest, How Can Today's Youth Reclaim Civil Rights? Just recently enrolled in the Chet Dream Big competition and wrote about women's rights. Following up with that, just finished doing an interview about the CREC Open Choice program. All in all, I want to thank the people of Simsbury who have supported me through this long journey and given me life-changing opportunities. I thank my mom, dad, aunt, uncles, cousins, and my grandma and friends for walking me through this journey and pushing me to accomplish many things in my life. Just know I've got nothing to lose, and my road has just begun. Thank you, and have a great night.
Very good.
So like I said, Amoya is just one of the great examples that we have, and we work closely together, and I can't wait to see all the great things that she's going to do as she continues on to 8th grade and beyond. So more about the celebrations, I would like to continue to strengthen the partner-family connection. We had dinners at Latimer Lane, at Terrafil, and we didn't have a dinner at Squadron Line, so I'm still working on strengthening the partner-family connection at Squadron Line. It's such a big school, but I have had some families recently email me and say they're interested in the partner families, so next year I hope to work closely with those families and someone in the PTO, because that really helps. I've been working with the PTO, especially at all the other schools, with the help with that. And the Multicultural Club, as I said, it's been revived, and I hope we continue to do really good things. We also incorporate cooking lessons as well, so sometimes we'll go down and we'll use the culinary arts room and we'll have cooking lessons. We did a West Indian cuisine, Taste of the Caribbean. So I hope that, as the seniors move on, we have new leadership with the juniors and other sophomores that will be taking place.
I always make sure I'm invited to the meeting. Strategically.
Yes. And then another really great thing about the Multicultural Club is that we had a monumental debate on race relations in the high school. And I worked with Marty Leftoff, who works in the Writing Resource Center at the high school. He is the debate team leader. So we worked with 2 debate team seasoned members, and they helped to kind of, mentor the kids in the Multicultural Club: Ashley Jackson, Kadum St. Mary, Morella Sokorvanik, and Natalia Simmons Thomas. So it was, the topic of the debate was high school administration should encourage students to integrate in the school cafeteria, because that's the most obvious place that students see division. And so they both argued that they prepared for weeks, and they argued their both sides about, we should not do that in the high school. It should start in the middle school, be more meaningful. And so it was really great. We invited all the English classes because they were reading Huck Finn, and it was really appropriate. So 85 kids came in the amphitheater. And while Marty and I were pausing and reviewing the speakers, the school president, John Deckers, engaged the whole audience and kind of led them in a discussion about, what do you think about this? And we talked about different things that have happened in the high school that have that have kind of addressed race, and how can we create an open environment and a better school climate. So I think that was great, and I hope to continue that, hopefully have something like that once a quarter for next year. I think will be very helpful. And then one of the unique ways we celebrated Black History at Henry James and at the high school, we had the students read an announcement every morning for the month of February about little known Black history figures. Oh my goodness. So Amoya read for Marcus Garvey. She highlighted his accomplishments as a politician. And the Student Leadership Club read for the rest of the month, and the Multicultural Club and other students signed up to read at the high school. So it was good to hear
what they wanted to.
Yeah, they picked their. I wrote out each person and the figures that they could talk about, but they picked who they wanted to read. Yeah, so that was really great. And so one of the other great things I found about when I, tried a partnership with different communities in Hartford and so on, was this oratorical contest sponsored by the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. It was in January around Martin Luther King's birthday, and students had to talk about race, social issues in creative ways that you can address it. So Amoya won second prize. She won $1,000 in that contest, and a lot of students participated in it across the board. Magnet schools, other CREC schools, but they picked 4 winners. So I was really proud of her. Chelsea Perkins won 4th place too in that contest. So things like that I like to hear about and promote and have students be a part of. there are lots of students on honor roll and taking honors in AP classes, several seniors, several sophomores and juniors that are in those classes I'm really proud of. And also students that weren't really active in clubs and activities, after school activities, I'm now seeing are taking a more active role. There's students in outdoor track now that didn't want to get involved before, and then in the yearbook club. And out of the 11 students that are graduating seniors, 8 of them are going on to college, 2 are going to vocational or technical schools, and 1 is going enlisting in the Army Reserve. So I'm really proud of them. Kadum St. Mary got a full scholarship to UNC Chapel Hill and to UConn Pharmacy. And Ashley Jackson got accepted to several colleges, Howard University, University of New Haven. So lots of great things are happening.
That's really great.
I'm just really excited and with this, certainly this increased participation, Samaria certainly has her hands full with 146 students pre-K through 12, but really has done, I think, one of the greatest accomplishments is really reaching out to the Hartford community and looking at available resources and making those connections with our students. So, Amoya certainly is a phenomenal example of one of our students in the choice program. And we could have had literally dozens here tonight representing the great work that's being done. And we're just really proud to have this as a part of our culture and our community here in Simsbury. I don't know, good. As far as work to be done?
Just work to be done. I want to continue to maximize parental involvement, really through the partner-family connection in other ways. Just maintaining that communication with parents, increasing my work to help correct transportation and their effectiveness with us, especially at the beginning of the school year in sports and relate to the sports buses, expanding the Multicultural Club and Girl Empowerment Club. And I really would like to focus, I didn't get a chance, I think, to focus so much on the male youth mentoring, but I hope to do that through the fraternity, the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. They have a male youth mentoring partnership that I think will be really great for next year.
Any questions
Terrific.
from the board?
Good.
Thank
Sounds wonderful. Thank you for all your hard work.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
it's terrific.
Wonderful.
I just went to just to circle around. I did attend one of the dinners at Latimer Lane School in the beginning of the year, so it was really very, very nice. So Amoya, I am a parent of Latimer Lane children that graduated a long time ago, and when they were in Latimer Lane School, we were also a host family for choice students, and the relationship with my children and the choice students then extended from elementary to middle to high school and even beyond. So it was a very, very special time for my family and my children. So what you're doing is I commend you. You're an outstanding student. I keep thinking maybe someday you may want to be running for Board of Education.
You'll remember Amoya Francis. She's going to certainly make her mark, and certainly want to thank her family for coming out and supporting her and just emphasizing how important those family connections and those family supports are for all of our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks
Good.
for sharing your writing with us.
Absolutely, thank you. And thank you very much, family, for being here. We really, absolutely, you're welcome anytime at our Board of Education meetings.
You have
It
a lot
really
to
is
be
a
proud of.
pleasure to look out into the audience and see it filled with family and friends and young students here. So very, very nice.
Good, thank you.
Absolutely, very good. So, and again, congratulations, Amoya, on all your awards and accolades. And
More to come.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
look forward to hearing great things from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Very, very
Samara.
good.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Samara.
for all the
Thank you
work
very
that you do.
Night.
Right.
Good night.
Right. All right, we are on to Exhibit 9, Facilities and Enrollment Update.
So back to me.
All right. Can you make it as exciting as this previous presentation?
After Amoya and Samaria, it's hard to follow that.
Good night.
Thank you
for
very
coming.
much. Bye-bye now.
For coming.
I know a good writer.
She can help you out.
She could. Her speech, I had the opportunity to read her speech. Amoya's dad is an employee for the Simsbury Public Schools and works at Henry James. And he was telling me about this and And I said, I'd love to see a Moya speech, and you got a copy for me within moments, and dropped it off for me to read, and it was extremely powerful about civil rights coming from a 7th grader, and just, again, another example of how our students blow me away on a daily basis.
That's right.
But on to facilities and enrollment. On March 31st, the Facilities Enrollment Task Force had the opportunity to come back together and to discuss updates relative to our modular removal plan. So just as a quick history lesson for the Board of Education, we began a plan for modular removal as a first step to responding to declining enrollment, moving those temporary spaces and really creating efficiencies in our building. So we've had 3 phases of that modular removal plan. Phase 1 began the summer of 2013, and there we removed a rather large chunk of modulars from Tooten Hills, which housed some of our Ready, Set, Go programming, as well as our preschool programming. So that was moved in large part. Some of that was moved back into Tooten, and other aspects, specifically the preschool, was moved to Squadron Line. There was also a small white modular at Latimer Lane, and that summer that smaller modular was removed. Last summer, phase 2 resulted in the remaining modulars at Latimer Lane being removed, and now you see this beautiful grassy area and some improvements certainly to those grounds, but again, really creating some efficiencies. Central School is actually our 3rd place that has modulars, and when we first, at the onset of this, we were kind of looking at enrollment, and we had slated Central School to actually be phase 2. But what we were seeing is kind of an interesting flip in enrollment, and so it made it more conducive to remove Latimer's first, and then we had Central slated to be removed this summer. So we came back to the table in March because there were 3 new factors that really impacted that phase 3 anticipated to be this summer. I will get to those factors in just a second, but the end result was a recommendation from the Facilities and Enrollment Task Force to hold on modular removal for 1 more year because of these 3 factors. 1, we now have a pretty involved Squadron Line main office project. So Central's modulars house the other remaining preschool classrooms. The vision was that those preschool classrooms would be consolidated all to Squadron Line. So with the Squadron Line main office project and not knowing what would be online and offline, that move physically would be pretty demanding on an already compromised building over the summer. So that was factor number 1. Factor number 2 is that also with the preschool program that was at Central, that is also home to the remaining special education preschool, integrated preschool. And this would provide me kind of holding off as I transition to my new role as Assistant Superintendent of Pupil Services, the opportunity to really assess special education spaces, what we will need for full consolidation at Squadron Line. The 3rd major factor was payback to the state for early removal. So again, when we had kind of gone down this modular removal plan path, it was assumed that if we removed the modulars this coming summer, the summer of 2015, there wouldn't be a payback amount. In actuality, we were off because the payback amount would be approximately $16,000 to the state because the actual payback amortization table starts when the project is officially completed. Did I say that correctly? No. I looked to my business colleagues.
The work was done, but when it's the final payment and the closeout of that project is when the trigger started. So there was the difference in what our early thinking was.
So if we removed this summer, again, these 2 other confounding factors, and also an unanticipated payback of $16,000, which we won't have if we postpone removal to the summer of 2016. So based upon those developments, the Facilities and Enrollment Task Force voted to recommend this postponement, and we bring that to you for the board for your consideration. And certainly Tara, Susan, and Mike is the chair of that committee, if you want to add anything to that.
No, I think that's a good summary. It was a pretty straightforward meeting, and that's the motion. Or we have a motion here, but this is information and reports. It's showing as a motion.
is it?
Any reason we can't move it to an action item?
Motion to remove him?
Well, the committee within the committee made the motion to recommend to the board that we postpone.
Had the board ever voted to actually remove them?
Oh.
Because if
Do
they
you
hadn't,
remember?
then there's no need.
I'm not sure.
Have we done it, would you remember, Burke, if we had done that
I don't believe that.
prior?
I believe we made recommendations from the Facilities and Enrollment Task Force.
I think we approved them as they came up.
I think so too.
I don't think we approved them in advance.
I think so
We need
too.
to look at that, in which case no motion is necessary because no action is.
All right, so we'll leave it for tonight then?
Yeah,
Okay.
if we have to come back to it, we can.
Yeah.
Burke, what's the net impact on kind of, the net impact of deferral financially, right? Because there was a cost of taking it, like, baked into the budget for next year, right? There would have been a cost for, cost for the demo and then a savings for not having to heat it and right and all that.
Well, we did not pass the budget assuming that it would be removed for this upcoming year.
Thank you.
Okay.
So if we have to come back to that, Lydia, we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do it
We'll do
as
as an action item for a subsequent meeting then.
Correct.
In the meantime, we'll check and see.
Correct.
If such action.
It's necessary.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay, very good. Thank you very much for that, that update. We are now into Exhibit 10, the Strategic Plan Communication Plan, the Board of Education's
That would be
plan.
back to some luncheon.
All righty. You
I
are.
was a little bored, so
Timing's everything.
It all worked out.
Absolutely.
So this evening, would like to provide the board with an update relative to our communications committee. And first, to start out, the Board of Education does have a strategic goal to effectively engage stakeholders by communicating our improvement efforts, certainly providing opportunities to participate in the improvement process, and we set out to do this through a Likert scale response. So we had 3 different SMART goals to support the strategic goal. First, that the Board of Ed committee, which was composed of myself, Tom Doran, and Tara Willerup, to review various models and measures and develop a survey to measure 3 main areas: leadership practices across the district, our communication efforts, both push and pull communications, and we've talked about those before, and certainly overall satisfaction of our education program. In doing so, we also wanted to be cognizant that legislation requires us to also assess school climate once every 2 years. So we thought, okay, it would be really appropriate to roll these ideas all into one survey. So our second goal was by the spring of 2015 to administer the developed survey, and by this coming June to review those results, examine what the themes are from those results, and really develop future target areas for improvement. So to that, our committee has met a number of times, and we were using, specifically with school climate, a survey through the National School Climate Inventory. And what we were finding with that survey, it was very cumbersome for the end user. I'll discuss this more in just a moment, but as far as the student impact, we were assessing students in grades 3, in grade 6, in grades 8, in grade 12. Some of that due to requirements that we have to assess students at the elementary, both younger elementary students and older elementary students. And we also picked grades 8 and 12 because those are phenomenal transition years. We have students having that full middle school experience going into the high school, and also students who are graduating seniors who can really give us a good measure of these kinds of factors from the student standpoint. So we looked at this company, Panorama, and what we liked about Panorama is that it really had a very intuitive interface, and it also provided us the ability to personalize our surveys based upon need and based upon want. So in your folders, you have 2 copies of surveys. One is the parent survey that will be administered this week, and one is a copy of the teacher survey. So when we were developing those, again, looking at these 3 major buckets of school climate, of leadership practice and communication effectiveness. So Panorama offers, based upon these major themes and buckets, research-based banks of questions, which Tara, Tom, and I certainly looked at. We had administrators kind of weigh in with their thoughts and opinions. And then again, we had the opportunity to personalize some of the measures in which we wanted to assess. And so the result is certainly the surveys that you have as examples in your packets. So you can feel free to take a look at those. And Tom and Tara, at any point, if you want to pipe in, feel free.
Well, I think we have done a survey previous to this. We used a different mechanism, and I don't know, it was kind of the first time our foray into this, and I think we weren't as satisfied with the answers because the answers weren't as clear-cut as we were hoping. So I think this method seems, we worked harder on the questions and tried to figure out what they could mean if we didn't read them right. Mm-hmm. So we were trying to read them in multiple ways to try to make them as clear as possible so we can get the feedback we really want and we really need.
Yeah, I also like the going through the process. I thought it was really good. The targeting of the questions. I really kind of enjoyed both having the ability to look at other people's samples, but also coming up with things that we thought were important. And we're always getting folks asking us for an ability to give feedback. Always I know everybody on this board gets people coming up to them kind of anonymously or privately and saying, hey, here's a problem. Well, this, I think, is going to be an anonymous, easy way to give feedback, and I'd really just recommend when you get the survey, it's a bunch of questions, but it's all pretty quick. It looks pretty easy to do it and fill it out.
Yeah, we were able to answer, it's not just 1 to 5, like to dislike. Mm-hmm. If you look carefully at the answers, the sections that have answers, you've got a variety of, I strongly agree, disagree, and then there are some that are even more specific than that, because that doesn't always answer the question. So we were able to do some of those changes and tweak it just right to get the right answer.
And additionally, in addition to the Likert scale responses, we also have a section at the end where people can just kind of free write an open response to give us some additional feedback to these areas. So we're really looking forward to looking at the results. Again, kind of pulling out those themes and using the results for our improvement efforts in the future.
So every question is different. Mm-hmm.
And I'd really like to see our response rates be as high as it was for when we had the change in calendar. If it's anything like that, even
Absolutely.
Half of that would
Absolutely.
be awesome.
So here's where we can put that plan. So to give you an idea of the survey timeline. So again, we're going to be surveying students and parents and guardians of students from grades 3, 6, 8, and 12. And we're also going to administer the survey to all of the teachers in the district. So the 12th grade students have already taken the survey. They did that before the week of vacation. 8th grade students are actually taking the surveys this week, and the students in grades 3 and 6 will be doing so in early May, which is just around the corner. So today, actually, the communication went out from Matt, Mr. Curtis, the superintendent, with a variety of topics. Modular removal was certainly one of them, but also was this survey. And just for parents and teachers who may be watching, the survey will come to you directly from Panorama. So please be watching for that, and we'll keep that survey open for about a 3-week window, and we'll send friendly reminders to you to please complete the survey if you haven't done so. So the parents and teacher, the launch will actually be tomorrow, starting tomorrow from Panorama.
What grades are the students taking it?
3, 6, 8, and 12.
They different surveys for each grade?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you, Todd. Yeah, I made that big assumption. Thanks for asking. Yes, the 3rd grade survey is different in wording, certainly from the 12th grade survey. And what another kind of flexibility is that they can get at the same kind of topics and themes, but in 3rd grade language as opposed to 12th grade language.
And the same 5
Exactly.
5 dots. Okay.
Exactly, and that was really great too, because even being that this is kind of tried and true and tested on, I will take the 3rd grade students because we would look at it through that lens. We had some administrators saying, "Hey, can you tweak this question just a little bit because changing this one word I think would be more friendly to the 3rd grade student." So, and that was something that we struggled with a little bit with our last survey administration 2 years ago. So we're really looking forward to hearing from the students and the teachers who are helping the students kind of get set up on the computers, how this is all going.
A lot of surveys you guys had to put together.
Yes.
Questions?
So one of the nice aspects to this is that a lot of the information will be immediate. It will come relatively quickly for us to be able to look at. And Tom, it also goes back to a question that you had around the teacher and the administrator evaluation. One of the categories is around stakeholder feedback. So this information will be information that we as an administrative team will be able to review this summer and begin to help inform our strategic plans or continuous improvement plans for the following school year.
That's great. So next steps, again, a 3-week window for the adult surveys. And again, that window will be open tomorrow. And then we're going to review those results by our committee and certainly through administrative council for our planning purposes. And then I would see a report update to the Board of Education in the fall, more than likely from Neil. The director of personnel. So any questions, comments from the board?
I'm excited about this. I think it's really, I'm hoping it'll really give us what we need
I agree.
to be able to
Good to get that feedback.
provide what we can to anybody who needs to hear from us,
Right.
which is our objective.
And clearly looking for the trends and the patterns to, certainly inform the work that we do really well, but also the work that we need to continue to pay attention to.
Well, and part of it we all started with, we send out thousands of
Yes,
things.
yes.
What things are effective? What things do people actually read?
Right.
What things would they rather be seeing than what we're sending? I mean, it's basically how we can communicate better and more efficiently for everybody.
And get
So hopefully
input.
we'll get
Right.
feedback to make that much clearer.
Thank you.
What was the response rate 2 years ago from the survey? Do we remember that? It was the first time that we conducted it.
At that point, that was an actual, we had a district vision and core belief survey that we did, but then we
Okay.
also had a climate survey
Okay,
that
so
we
it
did.
was-
The climate survey was the one that we conducted 2 years ago. It was actually, with the students, you have a pretty captive audience, and with the teachers as well. With the parents, I think we were around 40%, which they say is statistically significant and gives you valid results. But we're hoping for, of course, 100% return rate from the parents in grades 3, 6, 8, and 12.
I'll get mine done.
Later this spring, we're going to give you an update on accreditation
Correct.
survey that has to happen at the same time. And on a parent end for that, the accreditation body tells you not to expect any more than 20% from parents. That's
Right.
their standard.
Yeah.
And we put that out at the same time. We're slightly below that. I made one more push through my electronic communication, and we got to about 30% of parents, and that's considered good.
That's
Yeah, that is
very
good.
good. That's
Survey
great to
as
at
well.
least. All right. Okay, very good. So actually, they're going to be getting, parents will be getting 2 sets of surveys, the accreditation.
Just high school people.
High school.
They already
the high
had it.
school. They already had it.
Yeah.
They've already conducted that survey.
This will come. So
Okay.
Panorama, look for Panorama
Panorama.
on an email.
Is your
that
friend.
will
Are they going
come.
to get through the spam?
They will. We've already taken care of that, too.
Yes.
So that's been communicated with our technology department, and we are good to go.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. Good. All right. Very good. We are now on.
Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sue.
Thank you for your help.
Good work
Looking
for the
forward
A lot
committee.
to,
of work, but appreciated.
Thank you to the
Finding
committee.
Panorama was the coolest thing.
So,
I actually found them at a conference.
We were
that
at a
all
conference in
attended.
November, right.
That was great.
Terrific.
that's good. We'll look forward to getting those results and then trying Panorama for the first time. What other districts have used it? Are there others that you?
It actually is part of the seed model.
It's part of the seed model.
Oh.
So seed is either the
state
state
model.
evaluation
Right.
model, and they require surveying as well, and they kind of put it out there, and Panorama was the company. We had actually forgotten about that until I was reminded after we kind of started this relationship. I'm like, I guess I should have known that. But because we had used different instruments and had really done some of our homegrown tools around evaluation, that it slipped my mind, but I was reminded. So many districts, anybody that participates in a
So
seed model.
they're all using that.
Yep.
Okay.
Full bore.
Around the country, too, not just Connecticut.
That's right.
Good. All right. I look forward to getting the results of the survey. All right, thank you. We are now on to Exhibit 11, the quarterly budget analysis, and that's going to be Burke.
Okay. So we've updated the format just a little bit of this quarterly report, and I anticipate that Matt and I will update it a little bit more for next fiscal year also. But starting out with revenues, we are still very pleased with our projections for the current year, and appear to be well on track. Moving towards the expenditure areas, we have 12 major groups, as you probably recall from going through our line item budget and having just recently finished the public hearing process. So this year's footnote, there's a footnote attached. This is a unique quarterly report to say we project a very significant surplus of $620,000. But as you recall from the budget process, this has been planned carefully with the Board of Finance, and as a part of our process, we have the intent to use some of this surplus, which would then be put into the non-lapsing account after the end of the fiscal year to help pay for energy efficiency projects. So those are going to yield further savings that are projected in our utility budget for next year. And then also expect to use about $250,000 to help support the out of district tuition and transportation costs. So that footnote, as Tom mentioned earlier, is something that we want to keep mindful of as we go through next year's budget and start budgeting for the 16-17 budget year. So we see that in major group areas we're projecting modest deficit in contracted pupil services, primarily due to special education services for in-district students. Likewise, with pupil transportation, with a little over $200,000, we project that we'll be in deficit there in that area, primarily because of the number of added van routes that we've had to add this year for those unique out-of-district placements. And then the utility area has been a positive area. And in particular, we spent a lot of time talking about our internal service fund and the area of insurance, which is really where we know we would be able to generate the bulk of the surplus, and that had to do with not only carrier consolidation from last year, but also favorable trends and experience this year, and fewer overall covered lives, and also more movement into the high deductible health plan than we had anticipated for this current year. So out of district tuition, as we've been speaking about, is the last area of concern for the current year. But again, fortunately, the net positive is going to help us into the next fiscal year. So there really aren't any surprises. We've updated through the months of March, very similar to the information that we shared through the budget process when you approved the budget at the end of March. So if there are any questions, happy to provide some more background.
Can you keep going and talk about the variance on the next page?
Sure. And I guess this is an area that I think Matt and I really want to focus on changing for next year. This has been the historical format, taking those major groupings, looking at our revised budget, and just dividing it up in 4 even quarters. So essentially, where our school year doesn't divide evenly throughout the year, it doesn't give you as helpful a snapshot. So I think our goal for next year is to really frame it in a different way, so that the projections are really driven more off of annual historical experience and not this sort of even quarters.
Definitely.
Mhm.
So that
will be a modified.
Yeah, because every time we look at every year I've looked at this,
So rather than try to explain
it freaks me out
each time why
So you're
it
gonna
looks like
seasonal-
we're going to be
It does,
ahead so much in instruction, the major part of our budget. In fact, we're right on target. You just don't see that because of the
seasonalization, right? So in essence, you're going to work on, instead of that division by 12, right? Like just seasonalizing it and making it kind of more appropriate for our for our year. Awesome. So
Matt's always excited to to have this report because he jokes with me that it's so riveting, and I hope that next year
It will be. We will make it a point to be next year. We'll hold you to that.
No,
You can always hope.
And I know, and Burke, I know I was, kind of jumping ahead in terms of this little surplus and the footnote. I do think, though, kind of as we're trying to track it, kind of the ins and outs, some way, shape, or form, like that fund is kind of a balancer, right? And I don't know how you're going to show that next year, but next year the kind of the gain or loss, the changes in that fund is going to be an important thing to make sure that we have a view into, right?
Right. I mean, I would think this year would be somewhat exceptional in terms of the ability to utilize the internal service fund and have this type of experience, but knowing that a large portion, about $370,000, is earmarked for projects that are not something we have to support on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like when we had the ERA IDEA monies years ago. If you're not spending it on something that you need for operating, then you're less likely to have a cliff.
Gotcha.
So I know we're keeping our eye on this $250,000.
Right.
We're hopeful. We're going to be optimistic that because that fluctuates and has been somewhat more consistent in the last few years, we can still be hopeful that we can do a little bit better, that we may see some more favorable experience there. So at least for next year, yes, I think we'd be focusing on that spending and how are we going to cover that in the subsequent fiscal year.
I think I just want to make a point. We talk about, in particular, the out-of-district tuition. Here at the bottom in the rationale, that the projected deficit was due to 14 to 15 placements.
Right.
And that is, if you want to speak a little, that is significant. I mean, that is something that not only this district is grappling with in terms of costs, in terms of students.
Right. We showed historical bar charts of the number of out-of-district placements, and while last year was a higher year than it had been for several, this year we're even one higher. So we just have the least amount of ability to predict in these areas. It changes throughout the year. We've had some students leave and some come back to us. But we're hopeful that in forecasting next year that we'll start to see a better ability to predict costs.
But as I said, this is also with many districts, this is something that the legislature is very aware, and we talk about the special ed cost to districts and district tuitions, and as you know, many districts are much higher than we are. And but this is something that I can say for the first time this year, many legislators had heard us, throughout the state, that this is something that can continue to growing the way it is in terms of the out-of-district costs. So all right, okay, very good. We are now we will be tabling Exhibit 12, as I had mentioned to you before. We will be tabling due to another meeting where we will have full participation of all board members. So with that, I would like to have a motion. Oh, public audience. I'm sorry, we're on our last public audience. Geez, all the audience left here, and I was, very comforted by having everyone sit in the seat here, but we're on to our last public audience. Anyone wishing to address the board may do so. All righty.
Said my piece.
All righty. Seeing none, our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. in this room, and I now would like to have a motion to adjourn as we will be entering in.
Motion to go
go
into
to executive session. We're going to executive session to discuss the evaluation of the superintendent. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. And again, do not forget, Tuesday, May 5th, please vote. Henry James, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the budget referenda. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.